Thank you, everyone, for joining in. My name is Vivian. I am calling in from La Mesa, California. We are having our first 2022 Friends and Family Meetup. Together with me today will be my co-host, Lillian, and also Phil, and they'll be sharing valuable information. And also with them, we have some guests that who's also sharing some of the, some interesting stories and information for all of us. And let me introduce you to my first co-host, Phil. Would you like to introduce yourself, Phil?
Hey, how you guys doing? So good to be here. It is raining here, so I don't know if my internet jumps in and out. Let me know. It's a bit noisy, but it's all cool. I'm in Bali, Indonesia, registered under Australia. I'm known as Talky Talk. I speak super fast because I'm excited, because I like to share life vantage opportunity like I'm going on a first date. Okay, that's what I do. I'm an autoimmune transformation specialist. I help.
Phil, I accidentally muted you because I was going through and muting everybody who wasn't muted, and it put you in there, and I didn't mean to. Back to you, Mr. Talky Talk.
What is the last thing I said?
You had just gotten into autoimmune specialist. It was like 7 seconds is all, 7 seconds or less.
Okay, cool. I'm an autoimmune transformation specialist. You can hear it again. So you just Seth, you're just letting me be practicing my talking talk. That's what you're doing. So basically, I help lots of people reverse the symptoms of their autoimmune health challenge. And it's something I thrive on because I used to have psoriasis years ago. I helped reverse that through crazy things I've done. I also eventually got something called vitiligo, which is basically a loss of pigmentation in the skin. Essentially what it is, like Michael Jackson, he was black going white. I was white going whiter. That's what it was. A lot of emotional things really tough on me because, you know, when you look different on the outside, people like to just naturally judge you. Wasn't cool. So I went on this journey looking at all health things, how I can reverse this. And I've been doing great on it. And until I actually added in Protandim, NRF2, and add all these other things in and started boosting my immunity even more, things started changing. So I shared with all my clients. I can't stop talking about it. And I always say to people, you cannot say the wrong thing to the right person. So that's really what my basic sort of introduction is. I've been doing this now with Life Vantage now for, I think it's beginning of August last year. And yep, I've gone up the ranks, but I don't really fuss about that. I more look at focusing and being pro helping people. That's what I try. We want to see people shine. And if you've just jumped on, if you can maybe mute yourself, Christy and Joel, that'd be really awesome if you can. But we're talking about autoimmune, and I want to share how we can take the products that we've got in our, I suppose, in our bank, and how this can actually enhance our immune system. So I've done a couple of slides, which I'm going to share, and hopefully that they're not too sciencey for you, because I love the science, because I get quite excited on it. I can be a bit nerdy. If it's something that goes over here, it doesn't matter. You're going to pick up something along the way. So let me just do a quick screen share, and hopefully you can follow my crazy accent, because we've all got one, essentially. So I can see Beverly. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can see that slide for Beverly? Of course, awesome. Okay, with NRF2, we always talk about it being activated. I like to say, let's activate our immunity. That's key thing, what I like to look at. So we want to just layer it. And way back when Life Vantage actually launched in Australia, they only had NRF2. And I've now seen they've got all the other products as well. So it's quite exciting. So it's really cool. Here's a disclosure. We're not here to basically cure or treat or prevent or mitigate any disease. This is purely my own opinion, what I picked up and looked at. I'm just sharing with you. And I always encourage everybody, please do your own research as well. So let's talk about the inflammatory response. And I like to just call it the 3 R's to a health challenge. Now, in a simple way, there's irritation, inflammation, and infection. Now, if you've just come on, if you can just mute as well, that'll be really awesome. So let's talk about irritation. Now, think of toxins. Now, whatever you drink, whatever you eat, and whatever air you're breathing, that is a toxin that's obviously in the air. And there's chemicals, there's bacteria, and there's fungus, and there's parasites. And even if you're to sprain your ankle, your body's getting irritated. Like if someone's nagging at you all the time, you're going to get irritated. And I like to explain it in a way where, let's say, sometimes you could be clumsy and you might knock your knee on the bed and you get a bruise. That's a bit of irritation. And then your body actually, the inflammation response actually happens. So when that happens, inflammation is a good thing. Now, people are saying, oh, inflammation is bad. I said, no, it's good because your body actually then knows how to respond with inflammation and basically to calm down irritation, and it heals itself. So essentially, you keep bumping your knee on the bed, you need to stop doing that, and then the body can heal itself. But the thing is, if you keep bumping your knee all the time, you might start limping a bit, you'll get a bruise on the knee, and now you start getting basically acute inflammation. You keep doing that, eventually, you're now going to get chronic inflammation. You keep doing that, you're going to get now a sort of an infection. You're going to get pain. You're going to get a sore knee. You're going to maybe possibly get arthritis. I'm just using examples. Rheumatoid arthritis, vasculitis. And even if you actually look into the Merck is basically a medical literature where anything that ends in an itis is linked to inflammation. So you can work it all out. And if you look at another one here, myocarditis, that is ending in an itis, that's inflammation. The key thing is when we get inflammation, the body actually has these little cytokines, and they basically, and I'll jump to the next slide, these little cytokines basically, if they basically tell the immune system, you've got something to go do. There's something going on, there's some inflammation, the cytokines come along, go, okay, hold on, we now need to calm down the inflammation. That's its job. It's really simple. But now, cytokines need to happen, but not a whole lot of them. So if you have something called a cytokine storm, you've got high levels of inflammation. This ain't a good thing at all. Now, I do a lot of research, and there's a guy, you can actually look him up. His name is Dr. Jockers. He talks about how to basically get nutrients to calm the cytokine storm. And when I researched what he shares, I started seeing and joining the dots how the products we have on hand can actually calm the cytokine storm. So I'm going to keep it really simple. If you've got any questions, pop them in there. If you've got time, we can definitely answer them. So remember we spoke about inflammation. Now, I like looking at science and looking at the research. And when I looked at the patents with the NRF2, what they've got, there's 7 of them. The first 6 basically all talk about compositions for alleviating inflammation and oxidative stress. See the keyword, inflammation. Those are the first 6 patents, and you can see the ingredients are all listed over there as well. And the patent is under Lifeline Nutraceuticals Corporation. That excited me because if we can reduce inflammation, and inflammation is possibly linked to all health challenges out there and oxidative stress as well, we're on something that's really, really awesome. But it always has to be the last patent. I looked at the very, very last one, and now these documents are cumbersome, they're long, they're very boring writing. The one thing that came up here, methods for enhancing oxidation enzyme activity and reducing C-reactive protein. Now, you don't have to know what C-reactive protein is. In a nutshell, it's called CRP. You can see it at the top there. You can actually go to the website and actually look at CRP. In a nutshell, CRP is an inflammation marker that you can actually test in your bloods. That's one of about 5 or 6 inflammation markers. Now, they're saying to me, if you can reduce CRP and have a patent on it, I'm all in. There are, I was looking at, there's a distributor with Life Managed, for the life of me, I can't remember his name, in the USA. He's a cardiologist, and every one of his patients have inflammation, their CRP levels are high. What does he do? He gives them NRF2. So yeah, we've got one way to reduce inflammation by looking at obviously the CRP. So it's kind of cool. But then there's another thing we talk about, how to release toxins in the body. Now remember, there's toxic overload. We've got way too much toxins in the environment. It's a huge, huge issue. Now, if you can read at the very, very bottom here, it says here by Dr. David Katz. He says the most important antioxidant is the one the body relies on to clean up critical toxins, and that's called glutathione. Very, very interesting. And you can see the 4th on there, strengthens the immune system, mental focus, great sleep, reduces stress. I mean, let's be honest, with all this crazy things, we're locked down, stuck in our homes, most people in some areas, it's very stressful. And you can take glutathione, and what it does, it increases, take NRF2, it increases glutathione by 300%. Now think about this. We overload of toxins in the environment, you have got glutathione that actually can help eliminate that. Now, the glutathione is not 300% in the NRF2. It's actually like you're walking in the room and switching the light on, and now it's activating your body to produce its own glutathione. It's a super antioxidant. So it's powerful. So now we've dealt with inflammation and toxicity, and it gets more exciting. Now, I have gone ahead and I've done some research and I've looked onto PubMed, and I always encourage people to go into PubMed, and there's about 33 million medical citations of other people's basically research and peer-reviewed studies. Now, if you go onto there and you click expand over there, you will find that these studies aren't funded by LifeVantage. They're peer-reviewed independent studies. Now, they talk of this one study of the role of glutathione protecting against severe inflammatory response. Now, I've just gone and highlighted it here, and it says most presence of conditions is aging, diabetes, hypertension, a virus triggers lethal cytokine storm. Interesting. What do we speak about early on? We reduce the cytokine storm, reducing inflammation, very, very powerful. Then in the same study, they talk about here the levels of glutathione, which is GSH, the key antioxidant guardian in all your tissues. Now think about this, the guardian in all your tissues. Like, I don't know if you all watched that that movie called The Guardians of the Galaxy. The guardians are protecting the galaxy. So think of glutathione protecting your body. And if you read further, it helps basically reduce inflammation. So glutathione is something that's not spoken about. I don't think many people know about it. They're all saying, take glutathione, but here NRF2 is actually switching it on. So it's kind of cool. So again, encourage you to look at this. It's really, really cool when you dive down the research on it. Same study here, and it basically says here, demonstrating and evidence from literature that demonstrates the reducing of the glutathione, meaning you haven't got enough glutathione in the body, it's linked to basically what is associated with severe disease.
Healthcare and
so if you think of glutathione, it's there to basically link to all severe disease. If you just come on, if you can please mute yourself, it'll be really cool. So I encourage you, jump onto PubMed and look at these research. It's really fun. But let's sum it up quickly here, because I'm mindful of time as well, is that when we look at how to reduce the cytokine storm, and if this is all you remember, this slide, the next one, this is gold. Now, Dr. Jocker says here, take vitamin D, resveratrol, quercetin, curcumin, ECG, and all the ones you can see listed there. Think carefully is that LifeVantage have actually got all those, basically what you need in the products I've got already. And it's really exciting. So antioxidants are vitamin D, resveratrol, vitamin C, and zinc. Quercetin is basically in all fruits and vegetables, and specifically blueberries and greens. And like we all know, there's too much inflammation or too much free radicals in the environment, and having buckets and buckets of blueberries is not going to be practical. So that's where I like taking NRF1, actually has quercetin in it. He talks about herbs, curcumin, EGCG. Curcumin is essentially turmeric. It's part of the same family, and EGCG is green tea. And for those of you who know about NRF2, that's actually in it. They talk about melatonin as well. That helps you sleep a bit better. NRF1 actually helps to improve your sleep. So if you're improving your sleep, well, you don't have to supplement it anywhere else, because the body's now doing it from within. Also, many people have autoimmune conditions, or an immune system is not basically up to speed and not functioning correctly. They usually have to be always prescribed probiotics to basically get the gut basically doing its job. And this is where LifeVantage have got the same thing working as well. And I love this. This is one of the biggest reasons that I also got involved in LifeVantage, because I work with a lot of clients who've got autoimmune conditions, they've got gut issues. And so when I saw that, I was like, here we go, we're all in. It made sense. The other two that I've actually added on here is mitochondrial health. Again, that's basically the energy centers of your cells. If those guys are not functioning properly, you've got no energy. You can take all the energy drinks in the world, you can take all the coffee that you need, everything you need to stimulate you, you're going to crash again, because your cells have got to be basically up to speed. And autophagy, for those of you who don't know what that is, basically that's resetting your immune system. And people can go into ketosis, which actually helps with autophagy. People can basically water fast for 3 days. That helps get you reset your immune system. And also people can do intermittent fasting. That can be very, very challenging for certain people. If they're underweight, they can't do it. And someone does a water fast, it's challenging. But this is one thing I really looked at. Now, if we look at the next slide here, which is basically activating immunity. This is the package or the formula that I like to work with people here. Now, in some countries, you don't have all the products, but in the USA, you pretty much have all of these here. To sum it up, NRF2 reduces inflammation, like we mentioned early on. Your daily wellness has got those ingredients in. ProBio's got their NRF1 and NAD. Now, I'm going to just add a little twist in here. If you look at quercetin and zinc, if you add those two guys together, they function correctly, they actually have the same powerful benefits as hydroxychloroquine. And we all know what hydroxychloroquine is mainly been used for. Very, very interesting. And we can use it here by using this basically immune boosting solution over here, as I call it. So this is really a quick summary of basically where I would say to people, you want to get the best level of activating immunity. This is basically the products you would use. If it's too expensive for you, you know what? Start what works in your budget. So that's really what I wanted to share today in terms of activating immunity. And I'm going to hand it back over to Lillian.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you so much. So I'm also a little science nerdy like Phil. I have a 4-year degree in biology, and when this information reached me, I was all over the science. I was like, if this really does half of what it says, I'm all in. I jumped in right away. My story is a little bit, I want to go back maybe like 35 years. I'm going to be 63 in May. And about, a good 30, 35 years ago, I would get at least 3 or 4 severe colds throughout the year. And it had nothing to do with, I lived in Venezuela, so it had nothing to do with winter. It was just cold. And it would take me weeks to recover. And it went, from the nasal and the sinus into that, the cough, and then, and then that hacking dry cough, and I would just get sick to my stomach, drinking cough syrups and all that. So it would drag, like for a month. It would really bring me down, and I was in my 30s. So fast forward 8 years ago, I was introduced to LifeVantage, and I saw an ABC video that I encourage everybody. This is an interview with Dr. McCord, who was the formulator of that NRF2 Protandim that Phil talked about. I was all in. And then as the other products start coming on, I started stacking one over the other. And lo and behold, like it's been years since I don't get a cold. So I went from getting, 3-4 years that would knock me down for a month to not getting anything. And I want to add that I'm going to tell on my hubby here, who is not as consistent as I am in stacking all the products. He is sick, and guess what? I tested myself this morning and I'm not, although we are in the same house. So again, like Phil said, we're not saying that this is meant to treat, cure anything, but it's about, putting our immune systems in the best possible place so that not only we can stay healthy, but if we do get sick, because this is not a cure-all or protector, it's not 100%, nothing is 100%. But if we do those get health challenges, we will recover a lot quicker and hopefully with less side effects. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I will never stop stacking these products. And I want to invite, we have 3 other co-hosts that are going to tell their stories, their own personal stories or of their family. And so we're going to go to Carolee, Sloan, and Eileen in that order, just one after the other. Just unmute yourself. So, and thank you so much for joining us. So go ahead, Carolee.
Okay, thanks. Thank you much. I'm Carolee Gould. I'm in Morriston, Florida. Excuse me. And my story's not about me tonight. It's about my husband. He's 86 now. We started these products when he was 82. He used to get twice a year really bad colds, and he ended up with a cough that would not go away. He'd cough all night. He couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. The only thing that would help him was the codeine, that cough medicine with codeine in it, which, I'm not too excited about at all. So when we started the products, I kind of didn't notice. He'd be a little sick maybe, but I just didn't notice how good he was. And now I bet you it has been probably 3 years. Not only does he not cough, he doesn't even get that horrible cold twice a year, not once a year, and he doesn't cough at all. So, I won't go on. And he's so much healthier. We use every product that we can. We stack everything on. And he's just been amazing. From 82 to 86, he got healthier. And I couldn't be happier. So we'll take these products forever. And Lillian started with our dog, and we just spread it through the family and the neighborhood and everybody now. We just love the products. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Sloan. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. And I started with this company with Phil, actually. I had been working with Phil for about a year and a half trying to boost my immune system. And I was working with him because in 2013, I got something very similar to what's going on now. And I was in a coma for 2.5 months. I was in the ICU for 4 months. I was in a hospital for a year. And this was all while being a single mom with a 10-year-old. And luckily, my family stepped in and helped all they could. But I woke up from that completely paralyzed from the head down. And they said, don't ever get sick again, because if you do, you'll die. And I mean, they were just that blunt. Like, there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So since then, I've been trying my best to boost my immune system and also rebuild my body and get back to myself. And I'm back to a lot of really great things, and I can do almost everything on my own. I'm working on walking, and I've been in the pool for an hour a day walking. And Phil said, you've got to try this product. With Protandim NRF2 is where I started. And it really gave me energy right away. It made me feel good and made me feel more balanced. It definitely just helped in all ways. And then I started stacking with the NRF1, and that really helps with my cognitive function so much. And when I'm walking, one of my main problems is if I don't think about walking every second of the day, I will literally just fall down on the floor with no explanation. And so since I've been taking the NRF1 and 2 together, that has come to almost a complete halt. And I feel so much better, and I'm sticking with it. So thank you for letting me share.
No, not yet. Okay, now we're there. Hey guys, I'm Eileen Whipple. I'm here in Gilbert, Arizona. And I am so grateful to be on this. And I so relate with what Phil was talking about of getting diagnosed with autoimmune disease. And I spent 15 years on a roller coaster of ups and downs. And I would go to the hospital and I would be able to walk, and then I wouldn't be able to walk. I mean, it was just this crazy cycle. I did the natural things. I cut out the toxins. I started on organic food. I changed the way I ate. I changed my environment. I was popping steroids, and steroids were my way to get inflammation down, because turmeric just didn't do it for me enough. You know, it was just enough to keep me going, but nothing to get me over the top. So when I was introduced to these products now 7 years ago, I was actually laying on a couch about 9 hours a day. And that was awesome. I was thrilled to be laying on a couch, because at least I wasn't in a hospital. And when I was introduced to these through my natural doctor, I started on the NRF2. And then I just found myself having more energy, and I found myself getting more things done. I found myself just being able to not be one task Eileen. And where I am today is a miracle, because I really did not believe that health could be in my journey. I had given up because I had done so many things. And I thought I was too far gone. I thought I waited too long to change my outside habits. I just thought I was a goner. And if I hadn't gotten better from 2 years in, because where I was in 2 years in, I was thrilled with the quality of life I had. Where I am today is exponentially greater. And so I'm grateful for everything that I've been learning about all of this, and grateful that I could share that with you. Oh, may I say one more thing real quick before Lillian jumps back in? One thing that people with autoimmune diseases I have heard, or diagnoses, I've heard them comment on, well, I don't need to boost my immune system. And what I want to share with you is we're balancing the immune system. The immune system is hyperactive, and with herbs and natural products, it balances the immune system. And that's what gets me excited, because it's not, don't do this, this, and this, and this. It's let's balance the immune system and get the body back into harmony. Okay, thanks, Lillian.
Thank you so much, Carolee, Sloan, and Eileen, oh my God, these stories, I've heard them before, but every time I hear them, it is just, I want to cry, I want to laugh, I want to jump up and down. We are just so happy that people are, that like what you heard from Sloan, I mean, my jaw dropped, and for them to look this radiant and being able to participate and be happy and get their lives back, it just means so much. So what happens is we hear so many of these stories, and then we all become like Phil, talk. We want to tell everyone. We want everyone. I'm a dog trainer, so I also do the same thing for the dogs. We have the same incredible results. Carolee does it with the horses. Vivian started with a hedgehog. There is no limit to the human and animal potential, like what Phil showed you, that we reduce inflammation in all mammals. So this is leading up a little bit into a lot of us here have become distributors after experiencing these products and these amazing results and telling our friends and family, and you've seen the results. So we all want to become these talks. And then guess what? If we join as distributors, then we can also reduce the inflammation on our bank accounts. So that is like a double win-win. So I'm going to give it back to Phil. He's going to briefly talk about the business opportunity, and just be open-minded and take a look, because you never know where this can take you. Go ahead, Phil. Thank you.
Cool. I love that comment, reduce the inflammation on your bank account. That's so cool. Melissa always used to say one thing. He said, build the business so you only build the well, and then until you're thirsty to drink from it, something like that. I always forget it. Maybe she can share it at the end. And basically, I'm just going to do a brief overview on the business. I'm not going to go too far into it. Always get back to the person who invited you here. But I'm going to do some quick little slides, and because I like to do slides because it distracts people from listening to me talk so fast. So basically, if we can see that, I'm going to go, who can see there? Lillian, give me a thumbs up if you can see that. Yeah, cool. Okay. So how can we activate your health and your wealth at the same time? So it's kind of cool. And again, we don't make claims of how much money you can make doing this. It all depends how much effort you put in. And that's essentially if somebody goes to the gym and does some exercise, if they work harder than one person, they get results quicker. If you work less than the other person, you just take longer to get results. But the key thing is just keep working. Okay, that's the key thing. No matter how fast you do it, just do it. And what I love about this company and the business, everything else, you're sitting with a community where you can put a small investment in and get a whole massive amount of support. That's a big deal. Okay, it's a big deal then. So when you look at products here, now these are all the products that I'm aware that are available in the US. Some countries have less of them, but the bottom line is you got something to work with. And we've only just basically looked at about 5 of the products here. Now, you've got the hair care range here, you've got the energy drinks, the Axio, and I know that Soraya actually doesn't call it an energy drink, she calls it brain food because that's really helpful for her cognitive function. Sloan, I know she's used it as well. They've got the whole beauty system there, and deodorants and what have you, and facial creams as well here. If you think about this, and also let's not forget about the pets in the side, you've got Petandem as well, so we can't forget about them because they're also mammals. So if you have dolphins, you can give it to dolphins too because they're mammals as well. So if we look at this whole thing here, essentially, we were washing our hair, right? So why not just replace what you're using at the moment? Just use the hair cream, and also the shampoo, conditioner, and serum. If you're taking some sort of energy drink and having way too much coffee, well, just replace it with Axio. So all you're doing, you just switch the things out. Imagine if we all did that. You would actually find your business can actually grow quite quickly. But it doesn't just stop there at the yellow pill, little activator, the NRF2. There's a whole big range. And like what I love about this, when they launched in Australia, they only had NRF2. And in the last 10 to 12 years, or maybe a bit longer, they've got all these ranges, but they're not going to throw anything willy-nilly out there. They want to back it with science. And there's one product that actually isn't on there, it's RC Bright, which is a one that recently launched as well. But how can LifeVantage basically, take the information out your bank account? And you can see that person there is holding a mobile phone. That's pretty much how most people actually do this business, in the pockets of their life. They're on the bus, on the train, on the way to work, hopefully not driving on your phone at the same time. You can do this business on using your phone. And I'll be honest with you, I have not done any one-on-one meetings for the last 5, 6 months doing this. I've been doing on Zoom and sometimes in my pajamas just to make sure I don't stand up, okay? This is what you can do. So the opportunity is definitely there. Now, if we look at it, yes, laptop last file, I get it, social sharing, all the rest of it. But you know what? when you start getting results, you become a talky talk. You're going to tell your mother,
I wanted to hear
your
this guy.
father, and then you're going to tell your friends and your family. You're going to put on social media. And this is where we actually help you follow this process. So we hold your hand while you're learning and earning at the same time. So it's kind of fun. And everybody's different. You know, some people have large databases that don't need to do that. Some of them actually need lots of support. So anywhere we can accommodate any person that actually wants to share this, because you're going to pick up a lot of customers naturally. It's just what's going to happen, because people want to go, you know what? I love this, Phil. It makes sense. I love this, Sloan. It makes sense. But you know what? Let me try before I decide to become a distributor. And that's exactly what Sloan done. She goes, Phil, I'll give it a shot. She became a customer. About two or 3 months, she goes, you know what? I like this idea. How do I upgrade to become a distributor? And that was a natural progression, because she could feel it. And that's what happens. Some people go, you know, it makes sense. The science has said they just come distributor straight away. So either way, you're going to build a network, and it's always going to be around you. And while you're growing your network, what's going to happen? You start earning some money. And I always say to people, if we can just get your product paid for, you're basically starting a business that's looking after your health and looking after your wealth, and it's costing you nothing. Absolutely zero. And there's different ways you get paid. There's weekly bonuses and monthly bonuses. But essentially, the one I always like to talk about here is royalty commissions. I don't know if you're a songwriter or an author, anything like that there. Those are royalty commissions. So basically, when someone who's let's say like Elvis Presley, for example, when he passed away, the royalties from all these songs are still getting paid to his estate for 50 to 7 years thereafterwards. This business, you can will your business to the next generation and the next one and the next one and the next one. So it's kind of exciting. So when you really dive into it, it's kind of cool when you dig into that. But again, there's lots of detailed information there. I don't want to go too far into it, but when people like this idea, they go, you know what, I'm going to jump on and I want to become a distributor. There's two options. You've got a premier pack, which is this is US dollars, which is $2.99. And you've also got the elite pack as well, which is $9.99. There's a big savings between the two, because if you're purchasing more product, you're going to get that. But you know what I love about this? If you look at the elite pack, all the stuff we spoke about early on about the getting your immune system up to speed, those are all actually in there already, which is kind of cool. So you're getting your immune system up to speed, you're getting a business in a box, and you've got some products you can share with people. So it's kind of neat. But if elite pack is too much for you, you know what? Take the premier pack, and all you've got to do is add on the daily wellness one. There, yeah, you've got a business in a box, and pretty much you got your immune system taken care of. And all it is, you'll add $50 on top, and that's a business. If it's too much for you, we can reorganize it there. So some of the packs are different in other countries. Just be mindful of that. But when you look at this here, you can start something at a low entry level from a cost point of view, but with a massive support. And I always keep saying that, because you can earn and learn at the same time. And if you don't know something, because I don't know everything, I always ask, and my upline, Melissa, has been awesome. I love the woman to bits. She's been really helpful getting me to understand the products, because trust me, you don't know everything. As you share this opportunity, you are going to be earning some income. The more you do it, the more income you're going to earn. So I like to say to people, there's levels of Pro 1 up to Pro 10. And let's not get stuck in the pros. Just be pro helping people, because you're going to help more people. You're going to go up the ranks. And that's just a byproduct of actually just leading with your heart and passion and excitement. And when you get to Pro 3, for example, these are average income that people have earned on the Pro 3 level. And what's kind of cool, what company discloses who's getting paid what? That's a huge deal. So it's fully transparent, which I love about this, yeah. So the average income is basically between $580 and $10,000 US a month. Now, what can $580 do for some people? A lot. For some people, really tight financially. And if that just pays your product, get you to go out on a date night with your partner, your wife, or your husband, get to do something awesome with the kids, you can see where it goes. Just a small amount can make a huge difference. This is where something called royalty income comes in. So if you basically don't work that month, which I've taken a bit of a quiet month this month because I'm getting lots of things sorted out, guess what happens? I got a check. If I never went to work doing my normal business, I never got paid. Yeah, I'm getting paid. Might be a small increment, but I know it's going to grow. So it's exponentially grows. And then eventually, if you go to the next ranks, you go to Pro 5, because that's the next sort of level you want to strive for, and you start earning more money. There are people that have been doing this business for a year, and they're getting to Pro 6, Pro 3, Pro 4. Doesn't matter what it is. Just be pro helping people. You will rank. Doesn't matter how long it takes. So it's kind of cool. We can dive deep into this here, but I'm mindful of time because we've just basically gone over half an hour. If there's anyone here who wants to basically get in touch with the person who invited you here, chat to them, and they can basically help you go through the finer details of all the numbers. But what I like about this here, and I'll say this again, it's a small investment with a huge amount of support and a community that's there to hold your hand while you're earning and learning at the same time. You've got all the tools to make it all happen. You've got customers around the world. You've got distributors around the world. I mean, I'm sitting in Bali, Indonesia, registered under Australia, and I haven't left the house, and I'm working this business. So it's really cool. So I've got distributors all over the world, and it's fun. And anybody can do this because if you've got the right attitude and the right passion to go out and truly want to help somebody, you can see them shine. I was getting a bit emotional, but that's just me. Build the community, because when you build a community that's like-minded and they want to get their health back on track, your wealth is a byproduct when you start seeing people shine. So that's really, I wanted to end it off over there, but I also wanted to be mindful, get back to the person who invited you here and check in with them to see where do you want to be. Do you want to be a customer? Be a customer. If you want to become a distributor, wherever you want to be, go there. And that's really what I want to share. I know if anyone wants to ask some questions, by all means, I'm sure we can handle some questions as well. And I know Melissa's also in the call here somewhere. She's my upline, and I always pick on her because she's got an awesome story. So if we've got time, Melissa, I don't know if you want to just quickly maybe end something off there. Thanks for listening to me. Appreciate it.
Well, I'll just add the quote. It was dig the well before you're thirsty. That was the quote. So yeah, absolutely. The residual income side of this is unbelievable, but it did stem 150% from the validity in the products, all the patents that he shared, the life-changing stories. We've worked with physicians, health professionals, fitness professionals all over the world, and the stories of their clients, but then being able to participate in it, helping your friends and family, obviously experiencing it with our own autoimmune issues. But absolutely, when you start to share and become passionate about what this is doing for ourselves and our friends and family, it's pretty cool to get to participate in the growth of a company with patents like this, publicly traded company at that. So this is a real deal. I mean, this is absolutely, people are constantly saying, how do you know that it isn't just another one of those things? Patents don't have, another one of those things doesn't have patents. To be able to see the tree through the forest is the science that Phil was able to share. So absolutely got passionate about it, and we dug the well before we were thirsty, and it has provided an income for myself and my family, been able to stay home with my kids full-time, haven't had a job because of that income for over 10 years. So absolutely excited about transforming people's immune function, but also, like they said in the beginning, the inflammation that is on our finances. So thanks for letting me share. Wasn't planning to jump on there, but did a great job. Everyone shared amazing stories. Thank you so much.
All right, we're going to stop our recording, and